Morning, everyone. It is lovely to be here, I think, with my cuppa, with my Queen Bee cup, my first Corona cuppa with you. I realise that this is quite an odd thing to do, maybe. Maybe it will become a really reassuring thing in the days and weeks to come. But yeah, I think I'm quite anxious, not only because of what's going on in the world right now, but because this is the first time I've done a live and committed to do a series of lives for a long time now. I just haven't really done a lot of videos. And I've also been really conscious that a lot of people in my sphere are saying show up daily, be there, but there's quite a cynical seedy sales pitch behind that, and that didn't sit very well with me. So really the idea of this Corona cuppa is that once a day we all get our cup of tea or our cup of coffee and we sit and we have a chat. I can see I've got Anne here, so lovely to see you, Anne. And we just have a chat and about what's going on, and I am sure it'll be what's going on in our business within the context of the global crisis at the moment. Now, remembering that my whole sort of reason for being with my business is to get you started with your marketing, or if you have a more advanced, sort of more established businesses, to rejuvenate your marketing. So I think for a lot of you it's going to be this rejuvenation, and we'll come on and we'll chat about the business bit in a little bit, because I thought I'd now that I've got my cup of tea. What is going on with my fringe? From Nora, this is why I don't do live videos, because you start looking at your hair, don't you? So in an effort to sort of make my own food and be more self-sufficient, and with the vision that the kids are probably going to be home soon. So I've got 3 kids, 7, 9 and 10. For those of you who don't know, I thought I'll do a bit of bacon and see how we go. So I made some cookies last night, oats, an overdone banana, a little bit of shredded apple and some raisins. Mix them all together, cook them in the oven, bake them for about 20 minutes. When they came out of the oven warm, they were really nice. This morning, cold. Oh my God, they're manky. They're absolutely. So anyone's got any ideas how to turn porridge oats, mushed up banana, it was quite an old banana, raisins and some apple into something nicer, let me know, because that's like just manky. But I don't want to be at home eating loads of shit, because when I have a cup of tea, I tend to have something to eat. And when I'm at home more, I'm obviously going to drink more tea. So bit of vanilla essence, bit of cinnamon. How do I leave the bananas to soak up into the oats more? I don't know. So this is like, things that I'm doing at home. Manky cookies. That's been my first Corona attempt at doing something positive, and it was a bit of a disaster. I also came home from shopping yesterday and drove past one of my neighbours who I only ever sort of go, all right, to, probably early 70s, I would say. Him and his wife, we've lived in our house now for coming up 11 years. I did crash into his car once, and he was very lovely about it. I had no damage to his, damage to mine, but that's as much communication as we've had. And they were going out as we were coming in, and I pulled the window down and I said, like, hello, and I said, just wondering, have you got anyone to support you to get you food? And he shook his head. And I said, right, well, what I'll do is I will go, and I said, I'm Michelle, by the way. So in 11 years, I had never even, we didn't know each other. And I said, I will put my number and everything through your door so you know where I am. If you need anything, I said, by all means, just write it on a note and stick it inside the door and we'll see it. And he said, do you really think it's going to get that bad? I said, I think probably yes. And I wrote that in my journal, my good deed for the day. And it wasn't even so much that we'd offered to do something. It was like I'd talk to him. A lot of people are saying to me, how do I make sure that my customers don't forget about me? Talk to them. reach out, send, even if Kim's on here now and Lindsay too, and they've both got sort of drama, dance schools. I think Kim's got a location and like an actual sort of big studio, and I think if I'm right, Lindsay goes around different places. But keep in touch with your customers. It's okay to drop them a message, send them a text, even pick up the phone. If you sort of, Lindsay and Kim have got mums who they know who are stuck in the house with 3 kids, just ring and say, how you doing? And did you know that I'm doing, Lindsay's talking about doing, and Kim as well, a lot of their stuff virtual. So why not do some stuff for everyone that's on your page, not just for paying clients, some exercises, 5 or 10 minutes that, families can do together if they're having to home educate. And, we could have a glorious March, we could have a glorious April, but equally we could be shut in the house. But if we can be outside in our gardens and we're not allowed to go to the park, if you are health and fitness, and even if you do adults, what can you do outside using stuff in the garden? So get out there and be much more present, but with a view, I think, to help them. So me being on this morning, really, I'm just like waffling like we were having a cup of tea. But how do you connect? How do you give without really wanting anything back? And there will come a point, won't there, when we all have to, if we do shut down, we will then have to regroup. We'll have to rebuild our businesses. And it's the people who've been there, who have reached out, I think, that will come back stronger. But it is hard. And I've asked my mum, who's in her sort of early 60s, to try and not look after her neighbours who are in their 90s, because my mum's got COPD and I think they're a risk to each other. But my mum was a nurse a whole career, and that like totally goes against her nature, and she wants to help. So yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? So hello everyone who's joined me. There's quite a few of you. Let me just scroll down, and hello Jo, and hello Grace, lovely, and Tessa too, lovely to see you. Please ask any questions. Lord knows if I can answer them. I'm feeling quite like, we've got Kieran, my husband, is autistic, and then our eldest son and our youngest Livy, who was 7 on Saturday, they're both autistic. And this lack of control, is school open, is school shut, can we go swimming, can we not go swimming, were we going to get to the pictures, for Livy's birthday, all these sorts of things that the kids like to be in control. They like to know what's happening. They also like to be in control of their immediate surrounding within the house. So the house is their safe space. But as mum and dad, we've been anxious, we've been worried, and you try not to let the kids pick up on that. But it's really difficult. So I'm hoping, from my family's point of view, selfishly, that some decisions are made quite quickly. And while self-isolating would be hard, at least I would know that we would have to do it, and then I could plan for it. Does that make sense? So I'm aware this morning that I'm just chatting away, but I think there's nothing firm in our heads, is there? Are we going to have to stop classes? Are we going to have to stop seeing clients? Will the kids be at home? Will the kids not be at home? So Helen's come on, and Helen said she runs a youth group and they're having virtual sessions, and tonight they're going to talk about COVID-19 because they're all worried. And she's telling us you can use Zoom, you can use is it Microsoft Teams, YouTube have got a live, all platforms where you can broadcast, and a lot of them for free as well. And I'm really good that Helen's talking about coronavirus and COVID-19 with her young people, and we have been talking about it with the kids, and I think we're quite open, but we think that's the, and they said, Mum, will you get poorly? And I'm because they worry about me, because I am really obsessed with my fringe this morning, worried about my back and stuff, but I'm like, but that's not going to affect me, otherwise I'm fit and I'm healthy and we're all going to be okay. Some practical work things one thing that I'm going to do, and one thing that I'd like you to think about. So something you can think about over the course of this week while we don't quite know what is happening, and then we can chat about it as well. I am going to start a blog today with lots of practical ideas, the things that I've talked about with clients. So Lindsay won't mind me using her as an example because she's absolutely lovely. She was really worried about having to put her classes online, and because she was worried as a mum herself, she's quite anxious, and it's really easy to sort of get into the negativity of the situation. Oh, I've got to go online, and oh. But I said, well, it's a real positive actually that you are willing to learn new skills and new systems and overcome maybe your fear of being on camera and doing the techie stuff. You're willing to put that effort in for your parents and ultimately for your children, and you are going to be there, as Kieran in the background, and you're supporting your community, you're supporting your parents, you're supporting your kids, and they're going to love that. And also, if you can do something for paid customers, but you can maybe do something out there in the wider sphere for free, people are going to see you giving out exercise advice and tips, or show how dance is really good for kids and parents who are struggling with their anxiety. Maybe you're going to do like a daily dance in the kitchen, and you're going to choose a song that everyone's got to dance to, and you're going to give us some moves. I haven't just tried to dab live on camera, don't ever show my children that, but there's a real positivity that you can do. So the blog I'm going to do is, it's going to say, so if you've got a dance school or fitness business, you might consider doing this and this. And those examples are going to be either things that I've thought up or examples that I have actually talked about with clients. Just at the minute, very generally, there's no sort of people haven't been coming to me for mentoring about this. It's just the chats we've been having here online. Another example was, I'm just reading some of the messages as well. Kim, this is really ironic. Okay, so Kim, who has a dance school, and Lindsay is saying they hate themselves on camera, and yet they're performers. The reason that they have dance and acting schools is because they have that in their blood. And I think it's really funny that people are willing to get up on stage and project themselves and act to crowds of hundreds or thousands, but the thought of getting on camera is really weird. So that might be something you might want to ask some advice for, because it is weird. I'm talking to you, and there's a bit of a techie thing about I'm talking to you, but I can see me talking to myself. I've got to obviously remember to try and scroll down. I can see you guys having conversations between yourselves. So I'm checking the conversation, then seeing if there's any questions for me. So, but you can do it. So these are some of the things that I'll be looking at in my blog. I think it will be quite big. I'll keep adding to it day by day. So another example is actually not a client of mine. It's a friend who has a business and is changing their business quite significantly this week. Obviously, I won't say anything because it's not my place to say. But normally, you'd want to give a big fanfare about this business launch, and we were saying, well, it's probably not the right time. And I said, look, if you knuckle down and you launch your business and you work hard in the challenges that you face, and in a month or 2 months or whenever we start coming out the other end of this, you have got a successful business, then is the time to do your PR. Then is the time to say, I'm trying to think of a name. Jacqueline launched her business right at the start of potential self-isolation, right at the start of this happening and that happening, and she weathered the storm. It was tough. She had to batten down the hatches, a new team, but they did it. And now they are seeing that the seeds of recovery. They're seeing this happening. They're seeing that happening. And this is the advice that she would give to other people in her industry, or even other people with small businesses, with small teams. This is what happened. So actually, it's just keeping your head down now, getting on with the launch of the business, not shouting too much about it, and because you've got to concentrate actually on the day-to-day, get that business launched, and then in a while you can do the PR, you can do the fanfare, and actually that will really be able to help people. So that's another practical example. So if you were thinking about PR, is it still worth doing it now? Would you want to do it in the future? And we need positive stories now. So if you do have a good story, something brilliant that's happened right now amidst all of this uncertainty, then get it out to the papers, give the radio a ring, really let people know what's happening, because we do need these stories. And don't be worried or embarrassed about giving us good news stories. We have to. Now, I said earlier that I felt that a lot of people in my industry were showing up, but it was a cynical way to make sales. But then also there's a reality of that, isn't it? We have to make sales. We've got to run our businesses. We've got to bring an income in. We've got to support ourselves. So there's the blog. That's what I'm going to do for you. The last thing I want to chat about, and then I will go and finish my cuppa, is, do you know your survive figure? So quite often you hear me talk about survive and thrive figures. What's the minimum amount of money your business needs to bring in for you to survive? And then we talk about thrive, which is they're doing the fun stuff, they're having the extra money. But what now is your survive? If your income is going to take a battering, you need to go and look at your figures. If you are paying for something like... Excuse me, it's my phone ringing. If you are paying for something like Canva in the professional version, about $10 a month, can you reduce that? I pay for Acuity scheduling, which is $15 a month. At the minute, a client's going to be booking an awful lot of appointments. Probably not. And also I'm not out training a lot, and my diary is going to be quite clear. So it's probably as easy for me to say to someone, oh, can you do that time? Or them for ask for a time, and we do it directly. I could probably drop my Acuity for now and save myself $15 a month. So if there's things you don't really need right now and you can reduce those costs, how does that impact on your survive figure? So I want you to go and look at that, because probably you haven't looked at your figures in quite a while, and you need to know what is the minimum amount of money you need to make in order to survive. For all I'm sitting at home this morning, me and Kieran have got an office, and the rent on that office is £270 a month-ish, and then we have to pay for our electricity and our broadband. So it's about £330 a month. Then we've got insurance and then the house stuff as well. So what do you need to make? What is your bare minimum? Then when you know that, then we can look at what marketing you have to do to make that happen. And obviously the marketing that you have to do to make that happen within the current situation could well be fundamentally different. So do you currently have your 5 marketing habits that I talk about? Maybe, maybe not. Will they work? Will they need to be changed? So what will be your new survive if you're keeping your business running? And I really want everyone to keep their business running. That is so important. But you might have to, it might be for you that actually the demand is there for your business. But if you've suddenly got 3 children at home and they're at home for the foreseeable future, you've got to educate them. You've got to give them structure, and you've got to find ways to work around that. So would you be prepared, even though the demand is there for your product or service, would you be prepared to sell less and have a lower survive, so that you can also be there to parent your children? I sort of hope I'm making some sense, because this is all just coming out of my head. It could be that I've heard this morning that Australia and Denmark are doing things like stopping water bills, electricity bills, gas bills. I think Denmark are doing something where the state are going to pay 75% of the wages and the employees pay 25%. So that's for employed people. Other countries, I believe, and don't quote me on this, but are suspending mortgage payments. So my worry with all of the talk about mortgage holidays was that if you didn't pay your mortgage in, say, March, you get a 3-month holiday, and come April, May, June, then July, you'd have to pay July and March's. So when me and Kieran were in real financial difficulty back around the time Olivia was born, about 7 years ago, we looked at mortgage holidays. But it wouldn't have worked, because, you know, we could have a break now, but then in 3-4 months' time, we'd have to pay double. And I was never going to, I might get my earnings back up to where they needed to be, but they were never going to be doubled. So this has troubled me, but I've heard that mortgage payments could be suspended. So every time this new information's coming out, for all it's not filtering through and we don't actually know what might happen, you know, that's going to change your survive figure. That's going to change how much you need to work. And I've heard a lot of people say, you know, this time potentially, for all it's a global crisis, be really precious. We get time to be with our children. We get time to deliver their education. We get time to play games. We get time to, you know, actually just flick the button and switch off the Wi-Fi and be together. And my boys got phones. They're 10, well, you know, coming up 10 and 11, or they're 9 and 10. They got phones because soon they're going to be getting the bus to school, and it's quite a long journey. And trying to explain to them the difference between using the Wi-Fi and then using actually, it wasn't even that. It was about how using minutes was like proper phone calls, like picking up the phone. And when they were using WhatsApp in the house to phone people, that was on the Wi-Fi. And yet they'd been phoning people and then using up all of their minutes. I can't even get it straight in my own head. But turn off the Wi-Fi, be with our kids and enjoy that time. So that there is a positive in that. I'm sure we will all come together. I can see all of the positives here on the thread. And I'm getting lots of giggles and laughs about people. Yeah, honest, the boys didn't. I said, do you know that like when I was a kid and I was allowed to use the phone, it was on a stretchy wire and I had to hold it like this, and there was no, and I guess that's the brilliant thing now, is that, you know, my dad lives in Cyprus. I'm surprised he's not watching this, but we can video talk, and I can see him and I can talk to him. And my mum only lives 3 streets away. You could see her house through my kitchen window. But if I wasn't able to see her, I could chat to her every day, and I'm talking to you guys. Okay. I did say there would be no flow to first Corona Cuppa. I would just come on and chat, and I will aim to do that every day. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes. If you get sick of me, just let me know. I can see Ruth's here. Ruth shares that we're in the same building, the same office block. She knows what I'm like when we meet each other at the sink or the kettle. I just talk randomly. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've taken something away. I would like and round up a better recipe for my manky oat raisin banana cookies. I would like you to look at your survive figure and keep tracking it, depending, okay, on what changes out there in the wider world. And when I start the blog, I will give you the link on one of the videos, and it's going to be full of the practical advice that I'm giving people, that people are telling me that they're doing, and that I'm seeing out there in the wider world. And it will be if you are a dance school, if you are a beauty practitioner, if you are a whatever else comes up. Okay, and I will give you that advice in the blog. Much love and marketing still. This is still a time to do our marketing. And if you come back and watch the replay and you've got questions, please add them. And I will speak to you tomorrow. Don't know what time, just see what happens, but I will be here tomorrow. Okay, thanks for watching, thanks for joining, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care, everyone. Loads of love. Bye. Bye.